Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Ollie and today we're going to be running through the improvements made to the Sales Invoice module in Prima Cloud. If you've got any questions during or after the session, Mike's on the live chat today, so feel free to ask away. Okay, so a really quick tutorial today is running through the new features and functions that have been included into the Sales Invoice module in Prima Cloud. So what I'll do, I'll switch on to the live screen and from here then I'll demonstrate those new features for you. So if you are watching this webinar for the first time and you've not used the system before, there is a Sales Invoice tutorial specifically for the whole process, invoice profiles and everything that's required as well. So today's webinar specific to the new features. So what I'll do is drill down into the available lines, so finding what's available to be invoiced. And from here now, for an existing user to Prima, you'll see some new buttons that are now available, or search criteria as such. So the new ones that are in here, so you can now search based on a manifest number. You can now search based on a depot, so if you're using multiple depots, and you're also able to search on an invoice medium as well. As well as the search filters, what you do have is the new buttons, as you can see here, for set completion date on outstanding invoices, the option to assign a completion date, so if you want to backdate it you can, and also the option for create and complete as well. So the obvious one for create and complete, if I just run a search here now, and previously using the system, if you wanted to highlight the available records or use Control and on your keyboard, then from here what you would do is create the notes, complete them on the screen behind once it's been generated, and then of course print or email from there. So the new option of create and complete, of course, rather than having to create and then complete them in the second grid there, you've got the option all within the same window to do that from here straight away. So the completion date, of course, can be set. So for these particular invoices that I've highlighted just here, if I wanted to backdate those and say, actually, no, the 13th of July, whatever it may be, I can use those options, hit create complete, and then from there straight away, those invoices are done. So reducing a couple of clicks in that process. Of course, there are system keys in the admin as well. So as soon as the invoice is completed and then changes to a posted status into your financial system, then Prima can automatically email out those invoice records as well. Okay, the option for the setting the completion date on the outstanding invoices. So the way and the reason why this has been put into here is because if you wanted to raise invoices ahead of time before they've been dispatched, then something you could technically do is search by your manifest number, such as kind of a group of dispatch notes on your proof of delivery app. Ignore the dispatch status and generate the invoices ahead of time. Because what you can now do is, of course, you could go into those invoices and complete them before they've actually been dispatched, but there's actually now a system key that will do that for you. So if I just switch screens now and go into the administration, so of course the administration application, and into system keys, and then from here you've got the option for invoice system keys. So from here, the one I just mentioned there is auto-complete outstanding sales invoices when the linked dispatch note is completed for all lines. So if that's set to yes and you've generated your invoices before the dispatch note's been done, then as soon as those dispatch notes have been dispatched, that will then confirm the outstanding invoices with, of course, the invoice date that was stamped against them. So as an example, if the dispatches are being kind of completed throughout the day, as the signatures are going through and they complete them on the app, that'll then confirm those invoices in real time as well. So of course then the invoice technically would go out in real time if the system key is enabled for that, and that then would go straight to your customer. Otherwise, of course, if you are still using the letter option and the email option you want in a mix, then you can come in end of the day, whenever it may be, and run that routine or exercise as well. Another system key which has been introduced is the option to set the sales invoice completion date on creation and yes or no. So at the moment it's set to no. So as soon as I go into available lines there, that's unticked by default. So there is the option to have that ticked as a default as well. Okay, so there are a couple more things to show. One of those being the option now to split a PDF per invoice basis. So what I mean by that is, as now in the system, if you were to send out, say, 5 invoices on one email to a client, all 5 invoices would be collated onto one PDF as it would be treated through, Adobe typically anyway. If you are wanting that to be separated, so on that individual email, you're wanting 5 separate PDF records, then you've now got the option to split PDF just here. So at account level, you can actually define who receives invoices in one big PDF or who receives them individually. So of course you can, I guess, across the board, set this to be split PDF, yes or no if you wanted to, or at account level, you can assign it. So the reason for this development would be for potentially your customers that have systems such as SIMs or systems similar to that, where they can insert a PDF straight into the system. So I guess when you're sending an invoice across to them, they're requesting it individually on a PDF rather than grouped. And that's then, I guess, when the invoice is going across, they've got the individual PDFs on the email, and straight away they can take that, put it into the system, or do what they need to do with them. So it's at account level just here, so split PDF just there. Or what you can do as well, which will be needed if you are using that feature, is in system keys. So in your administration back here again, and in report system keys, you just need to make sure that this is enabled as yes. So if that's set to yes, then when we are setting this in the system to split PDF, then that can be used then. So if that's set to no, and also that's set to no, it won't be working. If this is both set to yes, then that customer can then benefit from the option to split a PDF. Okay, and the final thing, something more for, I guess, not just accounts users, but all users in the system, is now the ability to invoice straight from a sales order. So if the order is outstanding, you've always been able to invoice an authorization, so of course generate the invoice straight away. But something you can do, it's more kind of, I guess, designed for a retail aspect, is going into the sales order, and in your header detail now, as you can see, this one's delivered. So technically, I can go into available lines and produce it that way. But if I'm already in the order, I've now got the option within header detail to invoice available items right here. So if I click that, as it says on the tin, that'll invoice then all the items on that particular order, and then that'll pop up with the option then to print it there and then. So again, more designed for retail, so if you are wanting to quickly print off invoices or dispatch notes, that's what those features in there are now designed to do. But it's another tip, just to let you know, that's now available to do. So of course, if I hit start jobs, that will then print off, and away you go. If not, I don't want to print that one, that's okay. Hit cancel, and that then would update the status of that order, of course. Okay, so that's all the improvements on the invoicing side. Any feedback or any questions, feel free to ask in a live chat, or if you're watching this back, feel free to get in touch with the team. Thanks for your time today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.